What if the very things that drive you towards greatness are also the ones holding you back? Maybe even leading to your undoing. And what if the path to true self-actualization isn't just about, striving harder, but also about something really different? Like surrender. Welcome to the deep dive. Today, we're plunging into the fascinating world of self-actualization. We're drawing some powerful insights from a Wisdom Warriors article called The Alchemy of Greatness, The Dawn and the Soul.
Yeah, this one really pulls from quite a mix. You've got philosophy, mythology, psychology, and even a really personal story woven in. It's all geared towards exploring sort of the inner architecture of human potential. It feels both ancient and incredibly relevant to your own life today.
Right. So our mission here is to unpack this conceptual framework. It kind of offers a shortcut, maybe, to understanding these two powerful forces inside us. They're opposing, but also complementary. They govern greatness, but, and this is critical, they can also be destructive if they're left unchecked. The idea is you'll get a clearer map, hopefully, to navigate your own ambition and find some inner peace. So, yeah, let's get into it.
Okay, so at the heart of this article is this really interesting framework, these two powerful forces, almost mythical sounding. What does the article call them? And how do they actually define greatness?
It introduces the dawn in the soul. The dawn, well, that's all about raw desire, right? Relentless ambition, that sheer intensity, the will to power. It's the drive to strive, to suffer even, to burn really brightly and create something magnificent. It's very Nietzschean in its nature.
Nietzschean, you mean that will to power idea?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That constant, relentless drive to expand, push beyond limits, always seeking more. That's the dawn.
Okay, so that's the dawn. Intense. What about the soul? What's its role in this whole dynamic? Well, the soul offers a really profound contrast. While the dawn is pushing and striving, the soul embodies surrender. It's innocence, unconditional love, playfulness, even stillness. It's the part of us looking for spiritual rebirth, deep connection, a meaning that goes beyond just ego or what you achieve in the world. It's about finding genuine peace.
Okay, here's what struck me as maybe the core idea. The article calls these alchemical opposites, not just metaphors, right?
Exactly. Not just metaphors.
And the insight, which feels often overlooked, is that most people with huge potential, they actually get devoured by one of these forces before they can integrate the other.
Yeah, it's like they have only half the map to greatness, and that half leads them off a cliff eventually.
Right. Let's really focus on the dawn for a minute then, that burning fire of desire. The article says desire is the first principle of transformation. You see it in people like Michelangelo or Bruce Lee. Their greatness wasn't just talent, was it? It came from this immense, almost insatiable desire, this inner fire.
Absolutely. That dawn energy, it produces what we often recognize as type A behavior, doesn't it? That constant drive, always striving. But here's the catch the article highlights. It's also catabolic.
Catabolic. What does that mean exactly?
Think of it like a fire that burns really hot but consumes its fuel rapidly. It creates, yes, but it burns through your energy, your spirit, even your physical body to keep going. It can leave you totally depleted.
And if you just let that dawn run wild, unchecked, there's a serious shadow side, isn't there?
Oh, definitely. We're talking burnout, addiction, massive egotism, grandiosity, and yeah, often self-destruction. It's a familiar pattern.
The article points to historical examples, right?
It does. Figures like Kanye West, Kurt Cobain, Hemingway, even Alexander the Great. Stark examples of people with immense gifts, huge achievements, but who ultimately seem to become victims of this unchecked consuming energy. Makes you think of that Nietzsche quote again, great men are overflowings.
That's such a provocative line, overflowings. It suggests this raw, untamed power. But if that overflow isn't channeled, what's the consequence, according to the article?
Well, without integration, that overflow leads straight to collapse. It just burns itself out. It really highlights why you absolutely need that counterbalance.
Okay, so if the dawn, this powerful overflowing energy, leads to collapse when it's unchecked, what is the counterbalance? This is where the article brings in the soul, right? A very different path.
Exactly. Where the dawn burns, the soul surrenders. It's a complete shift, a different way of being. If you look at spiritual paths, figures like Christ or the Buddha, they consistently show this deep process of letting go. But crucially, it happens after some kind of intense striving or a profound realization.
So that raises a big question. What's the actual path to self-actualization according to this? And the article makes a pretty bold claim here.
It really does. It suggests it's not about avoiding ambition, kind of the opposite, paradoxically. It's about pushing your ambition, your dawn, to its absolute peak, what the article calls dawn maxing, and then consciously, deliberately choosing to surrender.
So it's not just finding a balance, it's like a two-stage process. Max out, then let go.
Precisely, a profound two-stage transformation.
Mhm.
And the narrator's own story in the article is a really powerful, real-world example of this. They talk about achieving everything on the outside.
Hmm.
Valedictorian, Ivy League, parties, sports, the whole deal. But it led to this massive breakdown.
Wow.
Yeah. Followed by a journey of deep healing, and then finally this conscious spiritual surrender. It maps onto the concept perfectly.
That journey, that integration, leads to this really potent quote in the article. The truly great man possesses the soul of Christ and the will of Caesar. What's the core meaning there?
Well, it's not about being literally Christ and Caesar, obviously. It's about the esoteric integration, the merging of spiritual love and compassion with earthly power and effectiveness. It's having that gentle wisdom of the soul, but also the formidable will of the dawn, working together, unified in one person.
Okay, and speaking of that journey, the article describes this pivotal moment for the narrator, a real turning point.
Mm-hmm.
They're watching this incredibly beautiful sunset, supposedly the best of their life, but instead of peace, they've felt this deep, unexpected dissatisfaction.
Right. And that experience connects straight to a core Buddhist insight, doesn't it? That idea that life is dissatisfaction,
Yeah.
or dukkha. It shows powerfully how even after you've climbed the mountain, achieved worldly success, pushed that dawn, there can still be this profound spiritual emptiness, a void that external stuff just can't fill.
And at that point, at that crossroads, the narrator describes hearing two distinct inner voices pulling them.
Yeah. On one side, the soul. It was longing for innocence again, for that feeling of magic, of youth, simple joy. But then, the dawn was still there too, wasn't it? Still yearning for more greatness, more glory, the absolute pinnacle. Never satisfied.
Exactly. And the challenge, as the article really points out, is that most people end up losing one treasure while they're chasing the other.
They either sacrifice their inner peace for worldly success, or they give up on ambition entirely to find peace.
And the article says very few actually manage to reclaim both, which really underscores how vital this integration is, finding peace and purpose, learning to balance surrender and ambition.
It's the central challenge, really.
So how do you actually bridge that gap? How do you start integrating? The article talks about something called killing the dawn, but temporarily.
Right, temporarily. It's not about permanent destruction.
It uses this powerful parallel from Nordic myth. Siegfried destroying the ring of power, the ring representing overwhelming desire, right?
Exactly. And destroying it brings on Ragnarok, not just an apocalypse, but a cosmic reset, a dissolution that allows for rebirth. It's a metaphor for a crucial step in personal transformation.
So this temporary killing of desire, what does that look like in practice?
Well, a key part is what the author terms radical sobriety.
Radical sobriety, that sounds intense. It's not just about alcohol or drugs, is it?
No, not at all. It's much broader. The article frames it as a form of spiritual discipline, a conscious act of maturity, really. It means deliberately stepping back from all those easy dopamine hits, the endless phone scrolling, passive entertainment, any kind of numbing vice.
Ah, okay. So it's creating space.
Precisely. It's not about repression or denying pleasure. It's about reclaiming your focus, your inner freedom, so that something authentic, something deeper, can actually emerge from that quiet.
And this links to another powerful idea mentioned, conquering with Christ. What does that mean? It sounds counterintuitive.
It does, doesn't it? It means overcoming your impulses, your lower drives, not by fighting them head-on with sheer willpower. That's the Dawn's way, right? Instead, it's about surrendering beneath them, acknowledging them, but not letting them rule you, finding a deeper source of strength.
So connecting this back, stories like Christ's or the Buddha's, they consistently show that true victory, real transcendence, comes through this kind of surrender, through letting go, not just more striving.
Absolutely. It's a fundamental shift in perspective. It's where the real, lasting change seems to happen, according to this framework.
Okay, so we have these big philosophical, spiritual ideas. How do you actually bring this down to earth? How do you apply it day to day? The author proposes a simple, but actually quite powerful daily structure, a tangible way to embody this union of dawn and soul.
Yeah, it acts as a really practical container for these ideas. The routine they suggest involves waking up and immediately dedicating about 2 hours to deep work. Could be writing, could be any kind of purposeful creative work aligned with your core mission.
Okay, deep work first.
Then, time for the gym, physical exertion, and also focused study, feeding the mind and body. After that comes something called leisure maxing. which isn't just chilling out, it's intentional.
Hmm.
Mindful walks, deep reading, having real, soulful conversations, not just passive consumption.
Right. Active leisure. And I remember a key part was zero stimulation.
Yes, exactly. Building in time for a deliberate dopamine detox, just quiet, allowing inspiration and inner clarity to surface.
And evenings.
Evenings are then dedicated to meaningful connections. Again, focusing on quality interaction, not just distraction or numbing out with entertainment.
What's really interesting is how this structure isn't just a to-do list. The article suggests it becomes a kind of spiritual practice in itself.
That's the core insight. It creates the necessary space, the container, to start living from your essence, from your authentic core, rather than just reacting to every impulse or external demand, living from the inside out.
Which brings us nicely to what the article calls the alchemical marriage, this idea of the yin and yang of greatness. The dawn is described as yang electric, masculine, concentrating power pushing forward.
Right, and the soul is yin, magnetic, feminine, allowing for manifestation.
Yeah.
It's the receptive quality, the space into which things can grow and flourish. It creates the balance.
And the article's big point here is that true integrated greatness comes from the esoteric union, the marriage of these opposites.
It's about having that fierce will to build an empire, that potent dawn energy, and simultaneously possessing the spiritual detachment of a sage, the quiet wisdom and peace of the soul.
Both together, not either.
Exactly. And this isn't some new radical idea, is it? The article connects it to the perennial philosophy.
Ah, yes. The idea that certain core truths appear across different traditions.
Precisely. This essential union of opposites, this need for integration, it's not unique to this one article. You find echoes of it in, well, almost every major spiritual and philosophical tradition throughout history. Eastern mysticism, Western philosophy. It suggests a fundamental pattern for human flourishing. Ultimately, it's about learning to live as an avatar of your superior self, acting not just from your ego's desires, but from the deeper aligned will of your higher essence, your soul.
So wrapping this up, what does this all mean for you listening right now? What are the key takeaways? It seems the core message is to truly transform and transcend, you're encouraged to embrace your dawn. Use that drive to strive, to create, to conquer your goals. Don't deny it.
But crucially, also reclaim your soul. Learn to love unconditionally, to surrender when necessary, to allow for that spiritual rebirth.
And practically speaking,
Practically, this means things like practicing sobriety in that broad sense we talked about, cutting out the noise, prioritizing intentional leisure, real rest and reflection, and maybe adopting a simple supportive routine to ground your spirit. Ultimately, the deepest layer is learning to surrender. Whether you call it surrendering to God, to your essence, to your higher self, it's about aligning your personal will with something greater than just your own ego.
the article leaves us with this really potent, almost koan-like statement. Surrender all that doesn't matter. Will with your whole will from your center. This is the way. What's the final message there?
I think it's a direct invitation, a call to action, really. It encourages you to be ruthless in shedding the superficial, the things that don't truly serve your highest purpose. And then, from that clear, centered place, act with absolute intention, with your full power, that integrated power of the dawn and soul together. That, it suggests, is the path to integrated greatness.
So as you go about your day, maybe take a moment to reflect on your own life. Where might your dawn be running a little wild, maybe leading towards burnout instead of fulfillment? Or conversely, where might your soul be yearning for attention? For a moment of quiet, of connection, maybe neglected in the rush. How can these insights perhaps guide you towards a more integrated and maybe a truly great life?